si scioglie nel ritmo. Ultimo ballo a capi, resta ancora con me, finché il mare nella notte parla piano di te.
Ultimo ballo a capi,
non lasciarlo finire,
se domani ci divide.
lascia il blu respirare, balla con me,
Ancora così,
Capri respira dentro il nostro sì. Non chiedo una promessa, né un ritorno da aspettare. Mi basta il tuo sorriso sopra il blu del mare.
non chiedo di fermare quello che passerà.
Ma se stringi questo istante, la notte durerà.
Forse è solo un ballo, forse molto di più.
Ma certe notti leggere non lasciano il cuore più giù. Ultimo ballo a capi, resta ancora con me, finché il mare nella notte parla piano di te. Ultimo ballo a capi, non lasciarlo finire, se domani ci divide, lascia il blu respirare. Ultimo ballo a Capri, la luce arriva già, ma nel suono della notte qualcosa resterà.
La sala si fa lenta quando entri senza fretta. Hai gli occhi della notte e una luce che mi aspetta.
Non dire troppe cose, lascia parlare il cuore. Se il ritmo ci avvicina, non chiamarlo per errore.
Un passo verso il blu, un altro verso noi. La notte non domanda
Ciò che sentiamo già. Balla piano con me, senza correre via. Fammi sentire il tempo che diventa melodia.
Balla piano con me,
Sotto questa città, se il mondo gira forte, noi restiamo qua.
piano con me,
Piano con te,
la notte si muove.
soltanto per noi.
Le luci sui tuoi passi scivolano piano. Mi basta il tuo sorriso per restare più vicino. vicino.
Io non cerco promesse né domani perfetti, ma se mi tieni accanto si fanno leggeri i pensieri.
Forse dura un momento,
Forse resta di più,
ma se chiudo gli occhi vedo ancora il blu.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Apologies for the late, slightly tardy show up here. This studio is an absolute mess. I have been in here non-stop and have been working on a new book funnel, which has really been amazing. And a lot of new technology has gone live here in the last few days, including our new room anonymizer, or call it whatever. I haven't got a name for it yet, but it basically allows me to open up 10 different Zoom rooms and then essentially spread the audience across 10 different Zoom rooms. And obviously, it's not designed for a small, intimate thing like this. It's designed for a larger event because you see, my screens can only handle 48 attendees at a time. So it's really quite nice to actually have them split on multiple screens. And Zoom actually allows you, in its enterprise version, to have 1,000 people in a room. The problem is you can't see them. And then it distracts you. So it's actually nice having them in different Zoom rooms, but also being able to essentially segment them by VIPs, by clients, by prospects, and even sometimes by companies, because we have one company that has about 100 members in it, and it's quite nice giving them their own Zoom room with their own essentially master of ceremonies. So anyway, without further ado, I want to talk to you and bring you into what is on my agenda today. Couple of things before Laura Louise gets here is I want to talk through the new book funnel that I've launched, because I actually wrote a really badass, kick-ass book, and it's called How to Become Dangerously Good at Attracting Both People and Money. And I read the book and I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. This would make for a very, very good course or a very good teaching program, because a lot of people just don't read and they want to have the audio version. I don't do audio versions because I want to see the people. So here's kind of what I built, and I'll walk you through the whole thing. So it's 100% authentic, genuine content from me, but I used AI to build it really quickly, to publish it, to build a book funnel, and to help me record the program. So the first step, obviously, is the landing page that I built here. And let me just go through that and take myself out the way here real quickly. So I fed the book into my AI agents. And from here, essentially, I went through and I said, okay, now help me create the book funnel. So in there is obviously the landing page video.
Somebody said
right?
no to you.
I won't make you sit
When
through
in
all of
fact,
that. Recorded absolutely spontaneous. The graphics are courtesy of Grok, Laura Louise's Grok account. She has a super Grok account, which we don't use very much. and I thought it did a really good job of the cover. And then my super agents essentially have taken the book that I uploaded and created the book funnel for me. So this is the front door of the book funnel. And I then decided, look, I'm going to order 100 copies and sign them personally with an inscription in it. So people can just come. This is step one of my own value ladder, where people can literally say, okay, send me a signed copy, put in your details, phone number, shipping and payment, and voila, off you go. And you get the book delivered to you. So that is step one. And then these graphics, by the way, are courtesy of Gemini. And I think it really did a great job. I mean, really did a very good job of the funnel. So then step two in the funnel I have open here is once you have signed up for the book and got it, there is a little video here that explains why you should upgrade and get the course version of it, where I'm literally live teaching you the contents of the book. So you get the book, you get the signed book, and you then get every single chapter totally explained, narrated, deeper than the book, examples in it, workbooks, and the whole thing. And yes, add the course to my order for $88. So now you have the book and the course. And then that immediately takes you out to step three, where you get, whilst your book is being shipped, you get every single chapter of the book totally laid out. So I didn't do any graphics, I didn't do any video editing, I didn't do anything. I just literally sat there and I said, okay, I'm going to teach chapter one in the book now. I'm going to teach chapter two. Give you a quick sample. And
okay, part number 2.
My AI agents here essentially took the content, took the transcript, created the videos, cut the videos,
This
put
one is about
the
what
closed
happens
captions in it
when you try and plug
if you
them
want
with a
them,
better performance instead of a different positioning, and it's absolutely critical for
and
the
push the
understanding.
whole thing out.
So, little mea culpa. In my
Better shut this
first few
guy
months
up.
of
Kind of have like two of me speaking. And literally I just recorded the whole thing straight through my video editor, took out the ums and the ahs and cut the beginnings and the endings off, produced the thumbnails. Graphics were also created by Gemini, by me uploading the book. So I'm essentially taking my zone of genius and amplifying it massively by creating this entire thing in one day. So that is the book, the course, everything ready and done. And of course, the book and the course at the end invite you to come and check out the Magnum Vault Pass, which is where we do the real work with really serious people. And that is all roads for us lead to the Magnum Vault Pass, because that's where we actually help people essentially build, create, and ship their magnum opus. So that is the show and tell of the whole book funnel. So Laura Louise has arrived in the meantime, and we haven't actually seen each other yet, so that's kind of cool. Good morning. Hello.
We did see each other.
Well, very briefly. Very briefly. Let me warm up your microphone. There we go. Here we go. And here's Laura Louise in the whole thing.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, we're both in black.
I know, it's like we got the
Black
the
actually,
memo.
black works great on this in the studio on a black background, because you kind of
See, mine,
meld
the
a little bit.
collar is different, so
Yeah,
it's
you're cool.
supposed to be up.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm advertising the UAE today. So anyway, so that is all cool. So that is
That
my
is very
my
cool,
quick.
actually.
What do you think of my book launch?
Yeah, I think the agents are going to work from my book. Actually,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it for the Stoic Thinking Woman's Journal.
Yeah, actually, that's a
Yeah.
really nice
So
product, by
I
the way.
think that-
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to get that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, all of these things are great, but really getting into the groove of, utilizing these things in tandem is so accretive to, all of the
Yeah.
thing of moving everything forward. And I'm sure everyone is getting ready to move everything forward because it is the end of August. Can you believe that?
Oh, it's like I just sent out, you know,
This is the last week of August.
I sent out notices this morning, and I got like 300 autoresponders back saying
We're out.
I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation, and
Well,
it's so funny.
this is a big week for being on vacation. I mean,
I've never really set an autoresponder on my emails. Well, we used to do it. Do you remember?
years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
And now everybody
25 years ago.
has their devices attached to them, and
Yeah.
I think it's time people go back to their office and go to work. You know.
Yeah, we are always working. Even when we're on vacation, we're working. But this was a busy summer. I mean,
Yeah.
We did have a great month in Europe. But other than that, it was really like full court press this summer. And
Yep.
that was fun.
It is very cool. So the one thing that I wanted to get into this morning a little bit is your right fit client.
Yeah.
Right fit client, investor, partner, call it your right fit tribe, because I think this is the part where most people struggle, and this is the part where we literally have to work very hard with every single client of ours
And
in that.
I think so many people end up serving the wrong fit client and they wonder why they're not happy, they're not fulfilled, and their business isn't lighting them up. Because what they envisaged was helping the people who are their people, their tribe, the people who need them the most, and then they end up, bastardizing themselves in a true sense of the word, where they really just are stepping into something else, and converting themselves to be what they think that the wrong fit client wants, and I have seen that play out more times than I can even count. It's so common that people end up not finding the right fit client, not serving that person, and then not feeling fulfilled in the process and feeling like they're changing. And then what happens is, I especially saw this in, the hedge fund world, where people wanted something specific and then they ended up altering their secret sauce, so to speak, and then it didn't work properly, and then the client was upset, and then the manager was upset because they were doing something that they knew wasn't in their zone of genius. It wasn't what they had constructed. But that happens over and over again in every form of entrepreneurship. And so this area of getting what we call the dot, and we got that from Dean Graziosi,
Dean, yeah.
he calls it the dot, but I love that because it's so specific, right? It's really that right fit client is a very specific person, and it's what you built everything for. So, and oftentimes it's an earlier version of yourself, by the way. Yeah.
Well,
Not always, but often.
It's interesting. I mean, I read through mine yesterday, right? So if I go into my vault, right? Hey, that's today's statement.
Too many people spend money they earn to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like.
Talk about right fit clients here, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so if I go into mine, by the way, you were asking me today, what's the quickest way to find anything in the vault?
Yeah.
Just straight up there in that search
RFC,
box.
yeah.
So you just literally type that in there, and right fit client, right fit journey in this section, and it literally gives you every video, every program.
I thought this was our sitting on our chairs today, not our standing in the studio.
I can fix that in about 2 minutes. Right
Last
fit client
Thursday of
extractor.
August. I would say, although it's not the last Thursday of summer, because Labor Day is the end of the proverbial summer, not the summer solstice, but the way that certainly in North America here we think about summer ends on Labor Day.
All right, I have the
Okay,
chairs,
you
but
have
you got to
chairs.
move that thing out the way.
Oh, yeah.
This is not as fast as you think,
Cozy, yeah.
but
Way cozy to be on a chair. Okay.
my seat is lower than yours.
Raise it up, babe. Oh, and Romeo.
It doesn't
is
work.
here.
Alrighty.
Hi, Romeo. Yes. Okay. Mommy,
So it's kind of an interesting thing. I want you to reverse engineer this a little bit, because for me now it's easy, right? I have the Magnum Vault at my disposal, my different tools have interviewed me. They have extracted out of me the hard information as to who do I actually really wish to serve and why am I attracted to those people, and why am I the solution to their problems, right? So for me, this is now easy. I literally press a button, right? Let me move out the way here a little bit, and
RFC extractor.
think you're just a little off the screen there, but I can fix that.
That's okay. We're good.
No, I'll fix that. Camera on.
I'm not off the screen.
Just a little bit.
Validate.
There we go. I don't want you to feel like you're being cut off. So anyway, let me minimize that again, and there you'll see. So for me, it's really easy. Basically, I hit a button. I can add a little bit of color to it, and I literally get a instantaneous rundown as to. Can you read that?
A little bit. Your right fit client is a serious operator, typically 50 and above, who has spent 3 decades building something real track record, real returns, real scar tissue. He is brilliant at the craft and largely invisible to the capital that should be backing him. Your head's in the way now. So.
Okay, but I mean, for me, this is easy. But if you don't have these tools, how would you do it?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Because we get in our mind like, well, wait, Mike, this can serve a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yes, it probably can. What you have probably can serve a lot of people. But if you're targeting a lot of people, you're probably attracting very little, because, you know, you're too broad, and it in breadth comes, you know, dilution of your message. So you really have to go and get to that, you know, really laser focus on who it is you really want to serve, who you built it for, who you know it can help the most, and who you want to be with. I mean, we end up serving our clients and we spend time with them, and if we don't actually want to be there and like them, we're not going to serve at our highest level. We are not going to be our best. And I think as an entrepreneur, the pride and the joy and the fulfillment come in serving someone who really lights you up too. I mean, it's so important, because we don't feel like we're serving when we are serving a right fit client. We just want to go the distance. We want them to get the outcome. We want them to have, you know, the solution that your product or your service is bringing.
Yeah, I mean, I find the AI tools that we've built are so valuable, because they allow us to do at scale and go faster and deeper than we can in a one-on-one basis, right?
Yeah, because on a one-on-one basis, you know, everything comes into play. What you want to expose, what you want to share initially. You know, we're very proprietary as humans, and we want to make sure we can trust someone before we expose parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
But when you're creating these within the tools, you're the only one there. You're actually having a conversation, you're going through something, and you're doing it when you're in state, when you're in that place where you're, you know, completely by yourself. You're in a place of lifted cognitive thought, and you're relaxed and you're ready to do it and dig deep. It's very different than being questioned by another human, even if you like that human, but you don't know how much you want to expose yourself. Most people, including myself, when I did my first Ignis interview, I was literally in tears. It was very emotional, because you're digging deep into something that is part of your past. It's part of the foundation of what everything you've done has been built on. It's part of your personality. It's part of your fears. It's part of your excitement. It's part of your motivation, your inspiration. Everything comes out in these interviews, and you have this moment where you feel like you're meeting yourself again. And a lot of us, myself included, we've left parts of ourselves behind, and we've been dragging the format of the contrived way that has been the approved way of your industry, or what everyone else is doing, or what, you know, people believe to be the thing that people who fit in, you know, do. And the truth is that if you're fitting in, you're not standing out. And if you're fitting in, you're not speaking your authentic voice. And it is the authenticity that is the true attraction for any entrepreneur.
Oh, I got a few messages saying, "Hey, what's the link for that book funnel?" It's going live next week, but I don't mind letting you see it. I mean, you can even order the book if you want. I just don't have the book presently here yet to sign.
But it's coming.
Yeah, no, but it is there. So anyway, I just dropped that in the LinkedIn chat, and I can drop it here, also into the different Zoom rooms. Okay, and off we go. That should propagate, and that should be run through it. Yeah. So the thing that I get asked the most is, okay, where do I start? How do I actually identify my right fit client? Because most people, as you say, go, oh, anyone with money, any investor, any client, doesn't matter, color of money, I'll take it, right? And we have always said that wrong fit money is the most expensive money in the room, right? It's like a really shitty bank loan with 50% interest that you have to pay for 10 years, right? Where do you think is the best place to start, Laura Louise, for anyone who's struggling with this?
Well, obviously, I think the best place to start is with the Ignis interview, because it is the unearthing of yourself. It is that redevelopment of your authentic self and re-establishing who you are, what lights you up, what makes you great, what your zone of genius is, and all of these things that just sometimes we get away from it. And when I say sometimes, I mean every entrepreneur that we work with in our private advisory business struggles with what is your zone of genius, or who is your right fit client. So they might know a target market that they have, but they can't describe their right fit client, and they can't describe their own zone of genius, even though they've been pretty successful and been in the game for decades, right? And that to me is the most surprising. And that's why I think this is the most important place to start, because when you meet yourself, when you meet your enthusiasm, your motivation, your inspiration, your desperation, then everything changes. Because then you start, then you're firing on all cylinders, and most of us aren't. And then I would say that, really think about who is one of the clients that you love serving. Who is that person that you really enjoy? If you have one favorite client, there's probably a lot of secrets in that if you start breaking that down.
I mean, for me, it's very often an energy thing, right? Because there is hardly anyone that we can't help. But we have a lot of people who say, oh, can you help me do this? Well, number one, you actually have to invest in yourself in order to do it, right? So then nowadays, so many people are caught into the freebie hunting. Oh, I can get this free, I can get this free, I can get this free, I can get this free. Well, then it doesn't mean anything. If it has no value, right, it means nothing. But I think the energy component is important, because when you do this all day, you are essentially giving yourself, you are putting yourself into that whole thing. Oh, we have a visitor here. Hello. Hi, Giuseppe. Hello, sweetheart. Yes, you can come on screen, okay.
Come on.
He's too funny. As soon as he sees people on screen, he wants to be part of the
He's
whole
our
thing.
oldest.
He's like, and it's the only time he comes, is as soon as there's people on screen, then he comes.
It's
He goes
I
there.
see those people, they need to see me. I am the real star of this show. Oro was fashioned after me.
He was such a slut. He really is such a slut. Anyway, back to the energy component. People don't walk around displaying, their identity very well. And just because you are focused on a certain demographic, or you're focused on a certain nationality of client or something like that, it's actually the people. I mean, there's people who run companies, and if you're doing business even on a B2B basis, you end up doing business essentially with 15, 20 people during a course of a week. You've got to get it really clear as to what those people are bringing back to you, because your energy is the thing feeding it. And if, there are some people that I just call them energy vampires. They just suck the life out of you, right?
I think this is a good point.
And,
because the energy that, if it's being, immersion gives you energy. And so, when people get the free stuff and everything, and we put it out there too, we want people to have resources, and we want them to start to think about, how to best work, how things are going to best work for them. But a lot of times when our clients come into some of our, what we used to do, 30-day courses, 3-month courses, 6-month courses, and they were courses, and when they were in the room, they were great, and they were in immersion, they did fantastic. But when they were out of the immersion, all of a sudden they started to slip because they didn't have that energetic force field where they could pitch and catch with and really take things to the next level. What happens so often with, we talk about shelf help, right? Not self-help, because people think, oh, let me get that book, and then I have the book, and then it's just naturally, if I sleep on it, it'll just be infused into my brain, or just the fact that I have it sitting on my shelf means I'm going to be more empowered. It doesn't work that way either. But we all do this, and everyone that I know has done this. And then realize that they never read the book or they never did the work, but holding yourself to that standard to do the work when you're running a full business, when you're out there, trying to, figure out the next move. You've got family, you've got your business, you've got administration, you've got your clients, you've got your partners, you have your spouse. It's overwhelming. But when you're in an immersive group, where you're going to the well for the water that's going to, hydrate you, then it's a different thing. It becomes this, very effortless task of, knowing that that's your time to work on this, to get this done, to take it to the next level. Even when we were working one-on-one, and we still do work one-on-one in our advisory group, but even our advisory group gets to do MVP privately because it's so valuable. Years ago, when we were working, and it's not that many years ago because, our advisory group has always been around, but before we established the MVP, we would have to work with a client once or twice a week, one-on-one, and then if they lost the thread or they didn't have something in front of them that could take them to the next level, or they forgot, where they were at, or what the next thing was, or they just didn't have the energy to create it, to write it in their own voice. And that happens to everyone. I mean, we have our own voice when we're in state, when I call theta wave, right? When you're in that highest, cognitive process where you can really take, your words and get it on paper, and that it sounds like you. But then when you're exhausted at the end of the day and you're trying to do this stuff and you're like, I got to get this done because I have my advisory meeting and I need to take this marketing message or this mission statement or this right fit client identifier, and you're doing it when you're your lowest state and you're not articulate anymore. Well, this solves that problem because guess what? You have your Ignis interview to start, but you have 7 other interviews, and that one of them's about your right fit client and your authentic character flywheel and your, heart, head, habits framework. So you start hitting things.
I think it's actually a very good way to
in a deep multitude of ways so that you're assured of getting some traction.
I think it's actually a good way to describe it, because if you think about, and if I'll just move our heads for a quick second so you can walk through this with me. This is actually, if I was doing this at home by myself and I didn't have the MVP, this is the exact order that I would run through this, right? So if you think of our Ignis protocol, right?
Yeah.
What it basically does, it extracts your identity.
Right? Builds your AI brain and strategy documents that you need, right?
Yeah, to basically extract your identity, because you cannot get really clear on who you want to serve if you don't know who you are and where you come from, right? And we do that in a 2-step process. So number 1, we extract that identity, and then we basically set it up for your authentic character flywheel, right? That's Laura Louise's design, something she came up with a few years ago that just made it so crystal clear
because
for people.
It's so hard for people. They go, how do I be authentic? What am I doing wrong? Whatever.
Yeah.
The authentic character flywheel is actually the roadmap for how you address everyone, how you deal with every interaction, how you handle every communication, whether it's, with your right fit client, whether it's with someone you meet at a cocktail party, whether it's the teacher at your children's school. cool. It doesn't matter. You have the ability to have this connective tissue with anybody that you meet, and you're going to know right away if you have the energy with them to take it to the next level.
And then from there, we open up our magnanimous protocol. And what that is about, okay, is really, and I think as for the entrepreneurs in the room, just hear me out on this. You know how you feel like you're 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and you're just not getting the traction. And it's because your head and your heart and your habits are not all facing in the same direction. And that is a really massive awareness thing. And normally, by the way, once people go through this, they don't actually need a lot of further coaching on it. Just the awareness of it alone makes you realize, oh my God, this is why I've been struggling, because my head is saying this one thing, my heart is saying it's not really in it. And oh, guess what? My habits are actually facing the other direction, right? And this has been a really big breakthrough, right? So that's step 3 in the chain. And then the one that we're teaching actually live next week inside the MVP in the intensive component is the zone of genius amplifier.
Yeah.
And that is a very important step because and maybe you can go a little deeper into that, because so many of us have arrived at in our jobs, in our careers, in our businesses, almost by accident.
Right. And this is what I found. For many years, I was working, we call it the zone of excellence. And that's the zone where people are going to pay you well. People want to keep you there because you're really good at it. But you find your mind is drifting, you're not satisfied, you're not stimulated, you're not fulfilled by it, and you're thinking, how do I get out? It's like this beautiful prison, right? It's the golden handcuffs, really, because it keeps you in a place that you're excellent at and well paid at, and by most people's standards to the outside world look successful, but you're not feeling that fulfillment and that joy, and you're feeling like you're made for more. There's more inside of you. And then there's that fear that if you step into what you made for, people won't respect you, or they'll say, well, they're not known for that, or why is this person doing that? They're this, now they're moving lanes, whatever. And this is the biggest problem that entrepreneurs have, even if it's running their own business, because they had envisaged doing something with their business. And we all know how this goes. When you start a business, you want to get clients, you want to do well, you want to make money, and you end up taking in clients and doing certain things that you're very, very good at, but it's not what really lights you up. And the difference between the super achievers and the people who are, by most people's standards, successful is the joy and the fulfillment, because it's easy to be a super achiever if you're in your zone of genius. It's very hard to be a super achiever if you are not fulfilled. Not very hard to be successful, but that's successful monetarily, not successful in terms of, how you feel about your life, maybe how you feel about your family, maybe draining you. I mean, so often we see entrepreneurs that are, their life is serving their business. Their business isn't serving your life.
Well, they have a life sentence serving their business. But let's quickly go into the entrepreneur thing, because obviously we feel it too, right? Gone are the days where you just have 200 people that you can go delegate things to, right? And so you end up so many of us have slotted into this role where we're doing everything, right? And you launch a new business, and you're a solopreneur, or maybe you have a couple of partners, but basically you're doing everything. You're wearing 22 different hats. And until I really embraced AI in a big way, in a smart way, right? Not just, using the prompts and so on. You realize, well, listen, I'm spending 80% of my day doing stuff that is not in my zone of genius. Well, what if I can outsource it? And then people are like, yeah, I tried that before. I outsourced it to the Philippines or to India, and I had virtual assistants, and it really doesn't work, because you're multiplying, you're trying to extract and multiply yourself, but it's not an authentic base. That is why, that number one tool that we built is absolutely at the core of everything. Because if you multiply 0 times a billion, you still get 0, right? You have to really work with a very solid base of that. And then you can, by doing that exercise of your zone of genius, to get really clear as to what is the one thing that really moves the needle that only you can bring, well, you should spend 80% of your day in that, not all of the other distractions,
and I will
right?
say that technology is not my zone of genius, but it is Onyx. And so he has been able to take all of the 153 protocols that we've built together, that we work with our clients around the world on, and expedite the outcome. And I mean, months into minutes, like it's real, decades into days. It is the game changer of game changers. However, what I see so often happening is that people just go to kind of the AI, public AI, and public AI is like this mush ball of like everyone's thought process who actually enters into it, because it's this amalgamation model that takes all the stuff and puts it into a big ball, and you don't know if you're serving the right fit client with it. You don't know who it's made for. You don't know who it's answering to.
Well, let me give you a small example. I'm just seeing this up on the screen right now, the Magnum Accelerator. That's a very expensive program that we offer. And so now I have to edit those videos, right? Let's just walk through that example. And it's like, oh my God, can I do video editing? Yeah, I can. I downloaded CapCut, I've got Veed, I've got all sorts of tools, but the hours and hours and hours it takes to take an all-day event and cut it into really good videos is really not my zone of genius. It's not even my zone of excellence. There are great video editors out there, but the really good ones cost a lot of money. Then there's the cheap ones on Fiverr, which I've tried. And well, guess what? Now I'm spending several days going backwards and forwards with them because they don't understand the intonation, they don't understand the punchlines, they're cutting the lessons off in the middle of things, and they just don't understand the content. So now I've got an AI agent, right? And we built something called the Magnum Cutting Room that is trained in our protocols. It knows what we're doing, who we are. It's trained in what a good video looks like, what a bad video looks like. And it gives me a tool that I'll show you, Laura. You haven't even seen them yet.
And being able to create this is really Onyx zone of genius. The interesting thing, and so most people, I would say, 99% of the world, that is not their zone of genius. And that is one of the reasons why we created the MVP too, because my zone of genius is my creative process. It's, figuring out how the mindset works with the tactics and the strategy, and how I can get an entrepreneur to see their zone of genius, because I can usually see it before they do. When I'm working with a client, I'll usually be able to figure out what their zone of genius is, and then they'll have their aha moment. And I don't say this because it's happened once. It has happened hundreds of times where, I'll be in and I'll say, well, what about this area right here? And they're like, oh yeah, that's, what I've always wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, well, that's what's coming through. That's your zone of genius peeks through. And so if you become like a good investigator, you're going to figure out what it is. If you do the zone of genius multiplier, it's going to get easier and easier. But the beauty of having these tools isn't so that you can think, oh, I'm going to go make the tool. It's so that you can get back to that space where you're lit up and
a really good
go through it faster.
Relationship.
If you wanted to do something
within
years ago, or 2 years ago, or a decade ago, or 2 decades ago, and you haven't done it, well, now's a good time to step into it, because it's a lot faster to get there than it was then.
Well, look at this example here, right? So we have this excellent video. Now, admittedly, that was before we upgraded our studio and our cameras, but the content was amazing. And I could now go spend 3 days basically extracting all these videos, finding the really great answers, so I can hand it to my agents. And my agents have been trained in exactly what they need to do, right? Here is the template. Now remember, these used to be very long videos. These were like 3-4 hour sessions, and no one's going to watch that. But you can literally go straight, like right now, we're talking about right fit clients, right? You click on right fit clients, you get training, you get the video in exactly the spot that you need it.
Depending on what it's for, obviously, but still, when you're talking about clients, having those right fit clients
is the difference between,
It's got great subtitles the way I want them. It's got all the training, the teaching, totally extracted out of it, right? And it's got the questions that you need to complete. And I think they're so good because this is the best place to stand for. If you want to get really clear on who your right fit client is, well, let's talk about you first.
Yeah.
I stand for this. I stand for that. I stand for that. I stand for that. And I refuse to stand for right here. And I refuse to stand for that. And I refuse to stand for that. And essentially, the program is going to take you and extract these materials out of you so that you can get absolutely clear on it. So talk about zone of genius. Yes. Okay, so now I've trained our agents, our workers, to do this. So the next video, I can even take the recording from today's session and extract 10 different social media extracts out of it, right? So that we as entrepreneurs, we stay focused on the thing that really moves the needle for us instead of basically spending time cutting videos, doing everything in the business. And that's where AI, I think, is a tremendous help. Yeah.
and the beauty is that I can think of all new things all the time and they get to go in the vault, because if I'm struggling with something, I know that an entrepreneur is also struggling with that same thing, that task that you don't want to do, that big lift, that thing where maybe you're paying for 3 different things outside to bring all of that data together and be able to express it the way you want to. I mean, in finances, you see this a lot, all the different things that you need to do in order to have your finances, your pre-tax planning, your monthly wrap up, quarterly, and everything. And it used to take a lot of time. And now we're building, things that allow it to happen instantaneously, literally, once a week or even every day if we wanted to.
Yep.
So,
all right.
Game changing. And so going through though, I think there's a couple of things that really, I know you got to Zone of Genius.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to necessarily walk through all of them because these just keep going deeper and deeper, right? And it's beyond the scope of today's discussion because we take everything in a clockwise fashion around here. And the next step along the way is essentially, all right, we need to extract that voice out of you, okay? We need to really pull out of you the architecture of who you deeply are, because from there, remember, all roads for us essentially lead here. We need to help you find what you love, what you're good at, what you're exceptional at, but also find the overlap of what the world needs and what you can get paid for, because that, at the end of the day, is your magnum opus.
Yeah. And your magnum opus is the great work of your personal and professional life. And it is personal. I mean, if you're running a business, it's personal. I'm not a compartmentalizer, and I know a lot of people are. They put things into boxes. But I find that true freedom is when those things are lighting you up in the same way. You have clients that you want to serve, you have a family you want to serve, you have a spouse that you love and want to serve. I think there's more overlap than segregation in these things. And when they start to work together, your life starts to feel very like it's humming. It doesn't feel like this big lift. It doesn't feel like a big challenge. And when you figure out, my favorite is the Magnum Opus planning system. Because
I was actually jumping at the bit here because I want to show you some really cool developments that you haven't seen yet.
No, so we've been very much wanting to bring this to all of you. It's been in print, and it's the system has been written for many years, but now we're applying new technology to it, and it's going to change the game. So I know you've been working on it.
You haven't even seen this yet.
I know you've been working on it.
So this is super cool. So the Magnum Opus planning system is essentially how you take all of these great ideas of your life, of your thing, and you stop giving every webinar, everybody's Calendly link, every little thing, the preference and the priority in your actual calendar, because your Magnum Opus, your big thing, has to be actually scheduled, right? Show me your calendar and I'll show you who you are, right? So you're going to love this, La Louise. It is now a fully integrated planner, but it's also digital. So you can obviously get the planner on Amazon, okay? That is there, but that's not what we're really up.
It's the system.
It's the system in it, right? But just some people really love paper, and I love paper.
I love paper, yeah. And I use the planner, but I use it with the system. The way it's not a to-do list. This is a system that gets you your outcomes. This is a system that gives you freedom. System that serves the whole of your life, not just your business life, not just your schedule. It gets you going to the things that you've always wanted and gets manifestation on them. And that is the game changer. And that's why it's a magnum opus planning system and not a daily planner.
So
there is no to-do list in this.
I have to quickly, though, because I'm on a different computer, so I now have to open up my mail account to get my link on it, because this is and of course, Apple is in the middle of a mail update, a software update. All right, let's skip that. But there are many ways I can get this.
So let me just tell you about how it all came about. Because when I wanted to start this system, I was so frustrated because I had used, back in the day, the day timer and the Cubby system and the Tony Robbins system and the Darren Daly system and
we've tried do you remember Franklin Covey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite, actually, back in the day when I was first starting out working. I lived with that. It was like my Bible. I just had it with me every second of every day, and I loved it. But then with I'm old, so this was like before we all had smartphones and everything. But by the time the BlackBerry came out, like it wasn't working with the BlackBerry, and then a lot of things came out that were like apps and stuff, and they didn't work either, frankly. I tried everything. When we decided we were going to do our own, we had a lot of really good ideas, but we decided to buy every book and analyze them for what they had that was worth it and what didn't serve us and what frustrated us about it. And we did this entire analysis. So there was literally thousands of research hours that went into this planning system, and we built it for us out of desperation because nothing else was out there that actually served us in the way that we needed to be served. And so this goes on our Magnum Wealth, which is your business and your wealth building, Magnum Health, which is the thing that you build everything else on, because if you don't have that, you're not building much. Your mindset, which is so important to get you where you want. And then Magnum Nation, which is your environment, the people that you serve, the people you spend time with, whether it's in your home or in your business or your partners or your clients.
Yeah, so basically this is now the digital app version of this, which you haven't seen yet, La Louise. So on the bottom left, just move your head a little bit to the side. You basically have to set it up, right? And you connect it to your Google Calendar or whatever you use, right? And then you can use over here, do a full toggle. I've got the simplified version. And you set up your ideal week, first of all. You set up the blocks, right? For your big, bodacious goals, all of those kind of things.
And there's a whole system of planning that you learn to use before you set this up, because it's not just a planner. It is a system that takes you to the next level.
Yeah, and then if you just follow along down here, okay, and those are the tabs down here you can see. Then you set up what is essentially your massive action plan, right? And you enter in what your big 3 bodacious goals are, what your vision is for the 90 days, and very importantly, what identity, who you must become over those 90 days. And it's got other little cool things, like if you have a quote for the quarter or something that you want to run on, right? And then basically now you build your week, and you only need to do this once, because you grab your big bodacious goals that are pulled forward from the other one, right? And you literally say, okay, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. Your magnum opus is not going to build itself. It's not a single item, right? It's going to be broken down into business components, different steps, and so
call it
on.
the 1% rule.
Yeah.
Like for me, and you don't really even know what the big bodacious goals are yet because that's part of the planning. But really the 1% rule is if you do 1% of anything you're trying
Yeah.
to achieve a day, 1% is a very
Yeah.
small baby step, and it allows you to really get traction, to really have major explosive growth even in your first month, where you start to feel like, okay, I'm on the road.
Yeah,
am
I just
on
want
the path.
to. We're out of time, so I just want to kind of. I'm running through this. So basically, you have your setup, you have your massive action plan, you set up your week, and then your week basically pulls it into your today, and you essentially drop all of these things into your calendar. And the setup, the initial setup, is about 10 minutes, and then on a weekly basis, it's basically if you do your planning every Sunday, you go through it, and you literally pull the whole week. Everything drops into your calendar, right down to the little rabbit hole things that you need to do, your big 3 to thrive, and then literally from here you can, decide exactly when. Because some people are incredibly efficient. First thing in the morning. Some people are up at 4 o'clock. Some people do their work late at night, right?
You decide to do your creative work when you are
Yeah.
cognitively and creatively your strongest. And, that is so critical because so often, and I've moved all of the way I work. A lot of times I do my minutia, even if I get really like into my work and I'm really, building something or creating something or writing, I'll take the whole day and I stay in that zone because I stay in that creative space. The second I go to the minutia and everything, guess what? My headset changes. It's very hard to get in. I know you guys know this, like you experience, you're in the zone and then all of a sudden you get distracted and you're out of the zone. It's very hard to get back there. In fact, I think empirical data shows it takes 45 minutes just to even get back to the state that you were in order to do this. And there are times when I'm writing where I do have a distraction. I try to get back and I'll be writing and I will write like, I am not in the zone right now and I'm working hard to get there because I can feel it when I'm, able to just write in free flow, in creative thought, and I can feel when I'm stuck. And you get stuck when you're not, in the right framework and when you start to get distracted or when you start to get tired. So a lot of times after dinner, I'll go to the office and I will do a couple of hours of minutia work. I don't need the same brain power to do the minutia work. It does need to get done, but I've gotten to the point where I would rather sacrifice my evening doing that kind of stuff that doesn't really serve the growth of my business. It's necessary, don't get me wrong, and take my quality time and make sure that it's serving me to grow and build the thing that is most important to me.
All right, so I'm going to be adding it to our bookstore. This is where everything that we're doing right now is landing. All of our existing books are here, plus Laura Louise's upcoming Saving 7 book on health, the 2 Stoic journals.
It's not just health, it's energy, vitality, and cognition.
Yes, I know. I was just trying to be short.
Well, I want people to know I'm writing this for entrepreneurs. I created it for me. I've deployed it with you. And, for me, the Saving 7 is really about having the energy, vitality, and cognition to get what you want out of life, to have longevity, to be able to build the thing that matters most. It's not just about having good health. It's about what you're having the good health for, what you're building, what that good health will serve in your life. And so for me, that is the distinction because I couldn't have had the life that I've lived if I didn't create this protocol. And that's the truth. So.
Well, I think that is about, we are really out of time. I've been pushing this a little long. I also started a few minutes late today, but it's been absolutely wonderful being here. This book launch of yours is running. It's running really well. I think
And I've barely started yet.
But people are signing up for your launch club, by the way. Maybe we should figure out a way to get
a couple of videos for that, and so we're going to be bringing a lot more stuff on the Saving 7.
So that's super easy, by the way. That's just saving7.com, or you go to our bookstore, which is just books.magnum vault.com, books.magnumvault.com. Literally goes you there, and from there you can click to any of our tools, any of our books, and grab these. Even if you want to jump ahead in before next week's launch of the Dangerously Good book, that's also up there. But I think that's it, what we have time for today.
Okay. Well, it was great seeing you guys. Enjoy the last Thursday of August, the
Yes.
second to last Thursday of the summer. Hope you guys are enjoying life and living it at your fullest. And we're always wishing you life and business on your terms.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody. Wonderful to see you. Bye.